So what is decluttering and why is it so important? Well, just take a look around me. This is my lounge room, and whilst it's all stuff that the kids use on a regular basis, they love to leave it everywhere, which drives me crazy sometimes because I just can't think straight. Something I'm sure all parents can relate to. Thankfully, most of the other rooms in my house are pretty much clutter-free. Anyway, so clutter is simply anything that you no longer need, no longer use, or which no longer serves you. And some examples can be useless computer files, a pair of worn out jeans, or even an unfulfilling relationship. Okay, so it's quite broad. Decluttering, therefore, is simply the process of removing these things from your life and or reorganizing these things in a way which minimizes clutter, which I need to do to this room today. So why is decluttering so important? Well, it's important because most of us are literally drowning in clutter. That is, we have an overwhelming sense of too much in virtually every aspect of our lives. Take physical clutter, for example. The average home has over 300,000 items of clutter. And this is a problem because the more clutter that we have, the harder it becomes for us to remain present. Think about it. So much of the clutter we have is associated with memories, which distracts us from being present now. Other clutter can just affect our concentration and create mind fog, which also affects our presence in the present moment too. And being less present can weigh you down and make you feel chronically tired and drained of energy, and often leaves you feeling, frazzled on a daily basis. It can also distract you and affect your concentration, as I just mentioned before, meaning it takes you much longer to do things, whilst at the same time making it easier to feel overwhelmed. It can even actually, cause feelings of anger, sadness, and depression, and can make it more difficult to maintain positive emotions. I suppose clutter has a very real and negative effect on both your physical and your mental health, including your overall enjoyment of life. And that's why it's so important. Also, on a more energetic level too, clutter blocks the flow of abundance, getting in the way of the success that we're reaching for. That's because when we have clutter and unwanted stuff in our lives, there just isn't the space for the abundance that we are seeking. Be it better health, more time with our family and friends, more money, and so forth. And this makes it challenging to feel grateful and truly appreciate the things that we have. So if you're serious about living more fully in the present, including manifesting and welcoming, abundance and good health and happiness into your life, then you need to declutter on a regular basis. So now that you know why decluttering is so important, I'm just going to suggest some different ways on how to go about decluttering your whole entire life, basically. And the best place to start is to begin decluttering all of the stuff in your physical environment. And this is what most of us think of when we actually think of clutter. And it applies to the physical space in which you spend your time on a day-to-day basis. This could be your home, your workspace, or anywhere else. But before you begin decluttering, I would just like you to take a minute to sit quietly and imagine your ideal life, the vision you hold for yourself. This includes the abundance you want, the success you need to achieve, and the place you want to be in the next 12 months. Once you establish this and you have this clear vision in your mind, then ensure to write your answers down, as that will help you to reinforce and clarify this message. Now, when you come across items like an old pile of recipe magazines, I've got these everywhere, or that piece of, artwork you bought when you were younger, anything like this. Ask yourself if these items are part of that vision. And if not, then you need to get rid of them. Clear that space so that abundance can come in. To do this, simply sort everything into 3 piles of large boxes if you have them available. So I've got some boxes here. So on the first box, all right, we're going to write the word keep, okay? So this is what you use to keep only the things that you love, that you use on a frequent basis, and which meets that high standards of the improved version of the life you're working towards, okay? So we'll put that down there. Okay, grab yourself another box or tub. Then on the next box, okay, I want you to write the word donate. Okay, donate. Okay, so not only does donating an unwanted item help to save the environment, but it also helps someone else in need too. Okay, so donating an item rather than trashing it can often make the process of letting go, much easier too. If you feel, the item is too valuable for you to donate, then you can always auction it online. For example, kids' toys, from when they were younger, all that kind of stuff you got around the house, okay? Now the last box, I want you to write the word trash. Trash. Obviously, recycle what you can, of course, but if it is junk, then simply trash it. If you're still having difficulty deciding what to trash and what to keep because you're unsure if the item actually fits your vision, then you could also ask yourself, put those there, if I were to move to another country tomorrow, then what would I actually take with me? And if the item isn't on your list, then it's simply time to trash it. Okay, so armed with these 3 steps, now it's time to get rid of any physical clutter. And there are lots of places where clutter lives and which you can start decluttering. And this includes things like, your kitchen, your bedrooms, your office and workspace, both at home or at work for your workspace, the garage, and even your car or cars. And decluttering all of these areas can feel totally overwhelming, especially if you are someone who does have a lot of physical clutter. So rather than tackling all of these rooms, just try to pick one to begin with for this week. For example, you might choose to declutter maybe your main bedroom, in which case you would begin to declutter items such as, I've got a lot of bills lying around, in my room. I have to declutter that later on today. Or paperwork, or technology like, computers and televisions, which really shouldn't be in your bedroom. Unused or excess items inside your bedside table, dressers, tall boys, and cupboards, including unworn clothes, shelves under the bed, piles of clothes, cosmetics and personal care products lying around, books. There's so much you can declutter. And so once this room has been decluttered, then in the weeks and months ahead, plan to declutter another room of your choice, and then another, and then another, and then another. And before you know it, your house will be clutter-free. Or alternatively, if you already have little clutter, then you could do the whole house in a day. Set aside a whole day and just do it. It's also important to do a digital declutter from time to time, which includes things like decluttering your computer. I often do that. Get rid of excess files. Programs, photos often build up, email subscriptions. Also, declutter your phone as well. That's a big one, something we carry around every day. You can do that by sorting the apps into different folders, deleting contacts that you no longer need. There's so many ways you can declutter your phone as well. Okay, so moving on, other things which you can declutter in your life includes things like your heart. Yes, your heart. How do we do this? Well, we do this by living true to ourselves, meaning living in alignment with who we are, including doing whatever it is that we want to do in life. Because if we don't, then we'll continue to have a constant flow of drama and emotional baggage and clutter in our lives. Also, too often in life, we hold on to resentment and fail to forgive either ourselves or those who have hurt us along the way. And doing so keeps us locked in the past, robbing us of our gratitude and filling our mind with more mental stress and clutter. And yes, even if we think that we have let go of it. So, if you are carrying a heavy heart and with it unwanted emotional clutter, then it may be time to start practicing forgiveness for both yourself and for others too. Try to see the past things that have hurt or disappointed you. Find the lessons in it all and just move on with your life. And this brings me on to the next thing which is important to declutter, and that is your relationships. We're all directly influenced by the people we choose to surround ourselves with. And often in life, we hold on to toxic relationships which do little other than drain our energy. But like the saying goes, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. If your relationship with another is not allowing you to grow and to feel happy, then it's no longer serving you and you need to let it go. Decluttering these relationships so that you can make the space to surround yourself only with those people who love and support you and which you enjoy being around. That's what it's all about. And so there are many other aspects of your life that you should declutter too, including your meal routine, your health and well-being, your faith, your finances, and more. So remember, when you stay consistent and stick to these decluttering tips, you'll find yourself feeling less stressed and happier. And the key is to make the time to do this. Otherwise, it just won't happen. So start today and start small. Begin by cleaning up your physical clutter. I've got some work to do first, and then move on to the other areas of clutter in your life. And you can do this by simply asking yourself the question, what area of my life do I most need to declutter and why? So how much clutter do you have in your life? Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to learn more about the other essential attributes of staying in your best shape. And until next time, watch what you chew, do what you need to do, and always live true.